Looking at this problem from section 6.4, we're given a cost function and the revenue function. They are both defined implicitly, and we're supposed to find the marginal cost and the marginal revenue when x is equal to 3. So let's do that. So I've got the cost function and the revenue function written here. Let's do A, that's the one that is asking for the marginal cost, so we have to differentiate this implicitly. So the way that we do that is we take the derivative of the power rule, move the 2 in front, lower the power by 1, multiply this by the derivative of c with respect to x, so that's dc dx. On the right side, we're differentiating with respect to x, so 2x derivative of x squared. This is x to the 1/2, so we can multiply this by 1/2. 108 times 1/2 is going to be 54, so we'll get plus 54 x to the negative 1/2, and the derivative of 53 is 0. Okay, so we need to solve this for dc dx. So that means we're going to divide everything by 2c. Before we do that, let me actually just rewrite this so that we have a positive exponent. We'll get rid of the exponent altogether. We'll just write that as a root. So this is going to be 2x plus 54 over the square root of x. So then we're going to divide everything by 2c. We can just do this term by term, so we don't have to have a big fraction bar here. So we'll divide everything by 2c. We get dc dx is equal to 2x. Well, actually, the 2's are going to cancel this, so we're just going to get x over c plus 54 and 2c root x. Okay, so we want to find this when x is equal to 3. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't tell us what c is when x is equal to 3, so we have to also find that. So next step, find c when x is 3. So to do that, we have to go back to the original equation, plug in x equals 3, so see if we can squeeze this in here. C squared is equal to 3 squared plus 108 root 3 plus 53. So if we simplify this, this is 9 plus 53, it's going to be 62, so c squared is equal to that. So we can take the square root of all that. C is going to be equal to the square root of 53 plus 9, that's 62, so we'll get 62 plus 108 root 3. So we've got a root under a root. It's getting a little complicated. Now next step, we need to find dc dx when x is equal to 3. We can notate that like this. X over c, that's going to be 3 over the number we got here, root 62 plus 108 root 3. This is all under the same radical. Plus 54 over 2c, that's the same radical that we had here, 62 plus 108 root 3, so that's the c right here, and then we also have a root x there, so that's going to be multiply this times root 3. So if we put all this into the calculator, we get approximately 1.18. Okay, so there's the marginal cost. Then we're also supposed to find the marginal revenue, so let's do that for part B. So part B, again, we have to differentiate this thing with respect to x, so we'll put the 2 in front. 890 times 2, 1780, so that's 1780. Lower the power by 1, just get x minus 3 to the first power. This technically requires the chain rule, but the derivative of this inner function is just 1, so just multiply it by 1, it's just going to stay the same. So plus, that's going to be 50r. So we're looking at this term right now, then we have to remember that r is a function of x, so we multiply this by dr dx, and then the derivative of the right side is 0, since that's a constant. Then we have to solve this thing for dr dx, so do that. let's leave the 50 R drdx on the left side, move this other stuff to the right side. So it's going to be negative 1780 x minus 3. And then we're going to divide all this by 50r. So we'll get drdx is equal to negative 1780 x minus 3 divided by 50r. Now fortunately this one's a little bit easier, because when we plug this in for x equals 3, and look what happens. Well, plug 3 here, that's just 0, so this whole numerator is 0, and then the whole thing is just 0, so that's a nice easy one there. I'll just get 0 for that. So just to kind of give a interpretation of this, just remember what marginal revenue is, marginal cost. Marginal cost, when x equals 3, if x is the number of units that we're selling, and we're selling 3, I don't know what the units might be, maybe 3,000 of them or whatever, if we're saying thousands of units. If we're selling that many, then the cost to produce the next unit is going to be what we got for this one here, about 1.18, and again, whatever units that would be, dollars, thousands of dollars, whatever. Marginal revenue, same sort of thing. If we sell 3 of them, or 3,000, or whatever the units are, then the revenue from selling the next one would be 0. So the marginal revenue being 0 if we sell that many. Okay?